Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH, on a Memorial Day Monday. So wait to verify audio. There we go. Alright, and happy Memorial Day to everyone. Whether you're watching this now live or later. And looks like they cut out, just maybe a minute early today. So, but I was ready this time. Alrighty, Coach Steve Money, and I am a Ramsey Solutions Certified Financial Coach. You're watching this on youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And for my financial content, just scroll past the Oak Island playlist and you'll see the Ramsey Show Aftershow playlist. Today is number 553 of those. And the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist, there's 138 in there, and there are 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in the music playlist, such as How to Do the Baby Steps Right. That talks about all the things that people do incorrectly when trying to follow the baby steps. They just don't interpret it correctly. Oh, market report. Markets closed today, so we won't see any movement here. Thought we'd just check the headlines. Trump grants EU tariff extension after a good call with Ursula von der Leyen. I don't know who that is. I assume that's somebody with the European Union, perhaps. And so still working on still ironing out the final tariff things, and maybe there won't be any final ones. Maybe they'll keep adjusting it throughout this administration's term, perhaps. Sweden Volvo car to cut 3,000 jobs as part of major cost-cutting drive. Yeah, gotta do that sometimes. New York Times opinion. I was Obama's budget director. It's time to worry about the national debt. So it wasn't time to worry about it when Obama was in office, right? Or when Trump was the first time, or when Biden was. It wasn't the time to worry about the national debt then, but now all of a sudden it is. Dumb. The Washington Post, E. coli outbreak sickened more than 80 people, but details didn't surface. That means it was hushed up. That means they put the damper down on the thing, and you would think they would have to give me information about that, but I guess they don't. New York Times at Amazon, some coders say their jobs have begun to resemble warehouse work. In what way? If you're just coding, I don't understand. And that's the danger of just looking at the headlines, because we don't get all the information, and it might not be interesting anyway. This from the street. The Fed official said strong message is that they are, due to the tariffs being a fluctuating thing, they're going to delay interest rate cuts. And again, so they don't want to be proactive at all to keep inflation down at the 2% that theoretically is their mandate for themselves, to keep it to 2% increase per year. And so if it goes more than that, or if it shows a trend to going more than that, you know what you could do? You could be proactive and cut interest rates, but they don't want to do that. CNN, flight from Tokyo diverted to Seattle after passenger tries to open exit doors. People are nutty. The conversation, most of us will leave behind a large digital legacy when we die. Here's how to plan what happens to it. Yeah, unless YouTube, I imagine YouTube might start deleting things eventually, but you never know. They might have to have X number of views or something like that. So don't know, but I mean, YouTube, just on my stuff alone, YouTube has a lot of space being taken up on their servers. And from Decrypt, Rich Dad Poor Dad author can't believe people aren't buying Bitcoin. Well, he's dumb as crap. This is the same guy. He finally stopped. But like every like once a year or more even, he would say in 6 months the market's going to be down 50%. He would say, I think one time he said down 80%. And guess what? It was up at the time he said when it would be down 80%. It was actually up when he said it. So he's a dumbass. And so if people aren't buying Bitcoin, a bunch of people are buying it, but apparently not enough to satisfy the people that already own it because they want theirs to go up more. So, but anyway, he's nutty. As I said, people are nutty, and of course, Robert Kawasaki, I think that's how you pronounce it, is one of the nuttiest. But he did finally, as far as I know, he did finally quit saying, "Oh, the market's gonna be down in X number of months." But yeah, he was doing that at least once a year for like 3 or 4 years in a row. And so dumb. He was never right, not any of the times. And this from news.com.au from Australia. From the lifestyle global warming, and it is because of warming. But global warning over fungi that could eat you from inside out, and that is, of course, better than the Last of Us cordyceps fungus that actually just takes over your bodily functions, and it wants to just infect every breathing human on the planet. And this just eats you from inside out. So this is still scary, not the best, but at least it's not trying to spread to everybody like that, like the cordyceps is in The Last of Us. Alrighty, let's answer some questions. What up, Sid? Happy Memorial Day to everybody. North to the Future. Oh, and I just get that. I just started watching Northern Exposure. And that is, I think that's Canada's slogan, I think. But they definitely say it on the show. Interesting. Am I doing something wrong not using my degree? Well, let's find out. So the idea, you would think, especially if you were dumb enough to take out student loans, the idea is that you are justifying taking it out because that degree will allow you to make a lot of money if you work in that field. And so if you can get that degree and not work in that field and make more money than that even, that's fine. But the problem would be is if you can't get a job in that field, or if you are not making that much money and you chose a stupid major. So let's see what it says. I went to private school. Boop, boop, boo doo. Go to state school, much cheaper. Thinking I would join the FBI or NSA as a data analyst. See, 17-year-olds should not be allowed to make decisions about that and take on debt. Which probably at 17, you can't do that. So it would have had to been a parent co-signing for it, or Parent Plus loan or something like that. Let's see, it's a super niche degree, and Most my classmates are in DC now. People are nutty. It's most of my classmates. How about learn that with your degree? Apparently, no English in the niche degree. I took out loans. Yep. Realized I hated the DMV area. That would be your Delaware, Maryland, Virginia area by junior year, and it is very expensive there, of course, because of all the government contracts, etc., etc., etc. And vowed to never work at a three-letter agency and found my true passion in small business. Well, that's great. Well, guess what? Your dumbass shouldn't have taken out student loans to go to a private school, then, should you? So you got to consider all this that, oh, maybe the dumb crap I think when I'm a 17-year-old kid isn't actually going to happen, and I won't like the way I've planned out my life. So that's dumb, so don't do that. For now, 1 year out of school, making close to 100K. That's not bad. How much in debt are you for the schooling? As a painting contractor in rural Alaska, well, north to the future. Again, there we go. All right, which is, as expected, much more my style than DC. Okay, great. My live streams have turned upside down. I love working with my hands and I'm making a good living. Okay. I often hear advice from Ramsey about ROIing on a degree, even if you hate the work. Yeah, especially if you're in debt because of it. Yeah, yeah. You should ROI on the degree to pay off the loans that it took you to get it. Let's see, especially when student loans were used as a way to justify the expense. Yeah, or you're not justifying the expense, there's no justification. Student loans, there's no justification for it. And you are actually a justification for nobody ever doing that. Because, as I said, when you were 17, you thought, oh, I'll join the FBA or NSA, and so I'll be working in DC, and then all of a sudden you don't like any of that. So that's dumb. And so that's why they say to, well, work on, if you can make twice this much, you can pay off your student loans faster, and then after that, then knock yourself out and be a painting contractor. Let's see. I did use loans, but have since been able to pay them off. Okay, they're paid off 100% with business income. All right, great. Then there's no problem. Am I crazy for completely giving up on my degree path? No, since you paid off the loans anyway, and so if you don't have any debt, I don't see a problem with it. And your 100K that you're making is plenty of money to live on. Yeah, I don't see any problem with this. You're fine. Good job on paying off the student loans, despite not working in that degree field. I now know way more about geospatial intelligence and human trafficking than any other painting contractor, business owner in Alaska. Well, I'm sure you do. And you knew that before instead of now knowing it. That's weird to end it like that. But something wrong not using the degree, you're probably making less money. But by not having any debt anymore, and hopefully, on steps 4, 5, and 6 at least, by not being in baby steps 1, 2, or 3 still, you're in a much better position to only make 100K, to make less money. And so that's when you're allowed. That's when you are allowed and you can make it happen. You can make it work to do things like do the job you want to do instead of doing a job you don't want to do and living where you don't want to live to make more money. Cool. So, but yeah, why they say to do that is if there's such a discrepancy in the income at least until you have gotten this loan paid off. And so he doesn't say how long it took to pay the loan off and so forth. And if he made more money, could have done it faster, but still seems like it's done. And didn't seem like it was an old person. So probably didn't take that long. Should we sell the truck? This is from, what is this? Bar Experience 174. Baby step 2 flare. Now, normally when we ask, if you even ask the average person, if they even ask, because most people don't want to sell the cars that they have financed, the vehicles. And so if you do, that means there's some kind of problem, and selling the truck may be the solution. Let's see. Husband and I are determined to pay off our debt. Great. Debt truck, 26 grand. Student loans, 77 grand. So yeah, that would make if you got rid of the 26K in debt for the truck by selling it, then that would make it less debt. And so that would make your baby step 2 experience shorter. So let's see. I mean, so you don't necessarily have to do it. If you can pay off both of these, so you're looking at $103,000. If you can pay that off in 3 years total, then that's fine for you to keep the truck if you choose to. Granted, it's gonna make your step 2 take longer, closer to 3 years than say to 1 or 2. Our first plan is to go all in and pay off the truck. We can get it done about 8 months going all in. Okay. So if you can do that in 8 months, that would be 26. And so what time? So like 3 times 8 is 24, and then you can subtract some because you're not making that payment anymore. So that's 2 years, but so that might be 20 months. So a total of 28 months. So that would be less than 3 years. So that would be fine if you choose to do that. Again, selling the truck, that makes all that happen faster. Then we tackled the student loan. The student loan is currently on hold due to the government. So there's no minimum payment right now and no interest accruing. No interest on it? Are you sure? We were debating on selling the truck and purchasing a car with the money we get from the truck after the loan is paid. Oh, okay, so you actually can sell it for more than you owe on it. That's fabulous too. And then going all in on the student loans, yeah. I mean, that would make you be done with step 2 faster. To try to take advantage of there being no interest right now. We don't know how long this will go for. Yeah, you don't. I'm hesitating because, well, ... What if we get a shitty car and have to invest more into that vehicle? Yeah. But guess what? You could also have problems with the truck, even if you pay it off. So the fact that you bought that truck new, maybe, but now it's not a new truck anymore, so you have to treat that truck the same as you would any other car that you would buy. You do not know what's going to happen with that truck. That truck could have more problems than any used car that you could buy. So that's not guaranteed either way, and a lot of people do justification station on that by saying, well, I know what's going on with that truck because I've had it. You don't know. It could still develop problems and have more problems than a potential car would. So you do not know. It's a crapshoot on that. We had crappy luck in the past, and I'm nervous about the potential risk of selling. All right. Well, I don't know what your crappy luck was, but that had nothing to do with a car that you buy and have a mechanic check out. So that's not, again, you can, with the math, they can keep that theoretically because they would be able to pay it off. based on their amount of snowball that they say they have, or inferred they have with the numbers they gave. The truck is very reliable and in great condition. Justification station here. We bought it new 2 years ago. Yeah, and again, that doesn't mean anything. My husband loves the truck, but it was actually his idea to go all in and sell it so we can become debt free. Right, you would do that faster. And you still would, even if you have a couple problems with a shitty car and you have to fix it. Even buying a new, very cheap car every 1 or 2 years is cheaper than keeping that. So you just got to be mindful of the math on it. But you can keep it if you want. I'm the one who's a nervous wreck about it, right? Well, I don't know. My name is Paul, and that's between y'all. And the problem is that you don't know what the future is with either vehicle, either the truck, if you keep it and pay it off, or any new car that you buy, you don't know what's going to happen. And so understand him loving the truck, understand all of it, but your justification is unwarranted because it's not, you don't know. Nobody knows. Always in motion is the future. And so we don't know in advance what the better move would be on that kind of thing. So, but still, per Ramsey, you can choose to keep the truck and pay it off. And that makes your baby step 2 take longer. So if you're willing to accept that, so then maybe you do something else to bring in more money or spend less money. Maybe you cut the budget further to keep the truck. How about that? I always have something that I can extra homework or something extra that I can give to clients to do, an extra challenge or so to at least have them think about doing when considering like financial success, progress on the baby steps, stuff like that. Correct bus 9903. Well, you don't want to be on the incorrect bus. That much is certain. So DRP stocks to pay off the rental house mortgage. You would sell those anyway, regardless of what they were in. If they're in a retirement account, you would sell stocks anyway to change to manage mutual funds. If you're going to follow the Ramsey advice, but let's take a look to see what the exact thing is. And so the idea is to, and a lot of people look at the baby steps and they just get the idea in their head where, oh, because I opened it, so it's not a pain here on the side. They look at the baby steps and they just get the idea in that, okay, everything that we bought already, such as a dumb truck like the other people did, or a rental house when you have non-mortgage debt, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be buying rental property, especially not on a mortgage. And so all that's dumb. So what you do when you start the Ramsey advice, you undo all that dumb crap. And so you shouldn't have got the rental house anyway, so you should sell it. Or if you have liquid, you shouldn't have extra investing beyond the 15%, and that's in a retirement account. And again, that shouldn't be single stocks. But let's see what's going on. Have a house with about 40K remaining on the balance. 20 years at 4.25%. Yeah, I mean, it's more than 15%. So again, you shouldn't have got that anyway. But the problem is, what do you have a mortgage on your primary? If you have a mortgage on your primary, there's no rental house. There's no doing that. If you owe a lot less on the rental house than you do your primary mortgage, you could pay this off and move into the rental house then. And that would make your finances a lot better, wouldn't it? It would. Let's see. I bought the house 10 or 11 years ago to help a family member. Most people immediately see where this is going. little or no rent for the past 10 plus years. Very frustrating and no end in sight. Um, yeah, well, I mean, this would be a dumbass decision you made. And so there you go. I have a DRP portfolio, and see, you would have never developed that portfolio if you were following the Ramsey advice. So you would have never gotten the rental out mortgage or had this either. You would have paid off your residential mortgage if you have one. May not have one. Have not said yet. I've had for many. I've had for many. Oh, this portfolio. Uh, Only routine invest in a few of those currently, so not too worried about short-term capital gains. Tax value of this account is about 40K. I see what you're saying. So yeah, if you want to keep it, that would be a good job because you're not supposed to have savings in addition to debt. And the rental house mortgage is step 2 debt because that's not your residence. You're doing it wrong. I max 8, both IRA and 401k, and keep about 15 to 20k scattered across a couple accounts. Why do people do that? That reminds me of the guy on that Ramit guy's show. The husband out of one of the couples said, well, I like to put my savings in a lot of different banks because that way it seems like more. No, it doesn't. If you understand math, it doesn't work that way. The interest on the mortgage doesn't help my tax situation. I do in another house a real rental. How come that's not a real rental? Oh, because you're not making money off of it. You're getting screwed by the family member, apparently. Where were we? It's making a couple dollars a month. That's not worth it either. Then sell that one too. Dumb, 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 dumb. If you can make more in the stock market, do that instead of being a landlord. People are nutty. We moved out while I took a job out of town and moved for a few years. What? We moved out while I took a job out of town and moved for a few years. So what that means, moved for a few years, that means you either it took you a few years to move, which I'm assuming it didn't, or you just moved for a couple years and then now you move back. So how about again, English is good to know. I'm leaning towards an emotional decision of selling some stock to simply pay the house off, freeing up the $40 and $35 a month. And the no debt is the Ramsey advice. My second wife, I say that as none of this is her problem. I had the family rental and DRP portfolio before we met. All right. Thinks I should stay the course and let the stocks do their thing and just keep paying the mortgage. That's dumb as crap. That's so dumb. That's debt leveraging to have that stock portfolio. So that's a no from Mr. Ramsey on that. Looking for thoughts from the crowd, not more family members. That's a good idea. To do that better than family members or anybody else really. But you might want to take advice from somebody that's been doing it for 30 years and has millions of documented success stories. Change everything you're doing incorrectly and follow the Ramsey advice, including the baby steps, and stop doing it wrong. But yes, you would, just based on just the one sentence on the headline, yes, you would sell a non-retirement, you would liquidate a non-retirement brokerage account that has single stocks in it to pay off any debt you had, whether it's step 2 debt, non residential mortgage, or in this case is step 2 debt, the rental house mortgage, which you should not ever have bought in the first place. And you know that now because you used it to help a family member, and now apparently you think you're locked into, I guess, having to still rent to them for extremely cheap, and so you're not making money on it. And the other rental house that you have, hopefully there's not a mortgage on that too, and that's only making a few dollars a month, which, since it's only making a few dollars a month, I bet that's on a mortgage too. So got a great idea. Don't have any more mortgages. Get rid of all of them. Pay off your residential, sell the other two to pay off the residential if need be. You're doing it wrong. Can someone confirm my wife's spending is delusional? Well, I would tend to just agree, probably. Let's see. Luckily, we are positive net worth. But she is delaying our retirement. How dare she? Saying her spending is normal for having 2 kids. I cover probably 80 to 90% of essentials from my side: mortgage, utilities, investing. All right. Well, we should have since we're married, we should have our finances combined, and it shouldn't be my side or her side. Let's see. Last 90 days, dining out, $6,769. Yes, that's delusional. That's 3 months, babe. That's over 2,000. That's like 2,100 a month in eating out. So yeah. So that's a no. And guess what? Mommy and daddy shouldn't be doing that. Not to that degree anyway. Even if there weren't 2 kids happening. So the 2 kids are going to make that go up some, but I got a great idea. You know, you can save money on the dining out when you have 2 kids, is to not dine out. So the health care, $1,250, that's necessary. Yeah, so we don't count that. That's not counted in the nuttiness. $1,330 is probably good for a family of 4 over 3 months. Yeah, that's probably great, but why would you need to go to the grocery store if you eat out every meal like you're doing, spending almost $6,800 over the last 3 months? Nutty. And so the grocery number would probably go up a lot, but hopefully not up almost $6,800. So that's the only nutty one I see so far. Let's see here. What kind of supplies? Art supplies? What kind of supplies is that? You know, I mean, that's not bleach, and that's not, dishwashing liquid and stuff like that. What is that for 1230? So gonna need some more information. Gas, 90 days. I mean, depends on how long you have to drive. And the other miscellaneous 1200, again, you would, in trying to figure out if spending is delusional, you got to have way more information than just this. The dining out, definitely, I'll go ahead and say that. Maybe everything else is fine. We would have to see on that. But yeah, 1230 in supplies is a lot for 90 days. So that's what, $410 a month on what kind of supplies? Yep, so eating out too much. So that part is definitely delusional. So happy to weigh in here. Oh, let's see. There's only 183. I was gonna go in to see if and I am, I guess. I've lost interest already. Just to see if there was more information given by the OP, the original poster is what the kids call that. on forums such as this. Punch for punch. Family always offers to pay when we visit, but put it all on credit cards and complain about financial stress. Paging Dr. Cloud. Probably got to do some boundaries here. And I would not participate in that. I would just not visit. If you can't afford it, don't visit then. I mean, if they're offering and they're adults, I'm assuming. So if they put it on credit cards, that's their dumbass mistake for that. So, I mean, you can go either way with that, but if you feel bad about it, then don't go to visit unless you can afford it. My husband, 29, and I, 26, are going to visit his family 2 states away this weekend. We'll see. You're already locking yourself into doing it. We just got debt free and we're working on our emergency fund right now, right? In which you would not go 2 states away for Memorial Day weekend, I'm assuming. And you would not do that because then you'll have to pay for the gas and other things. But I mean, if the family, they want you there bad enough and they say they're going to pay for it, it's, you're out of it at that point. And then you just have to listen to them complain about the financial stress. Now, what you cannot do is expect them to pay for it and then not complain about it, apparently. Because they are free to complain about whatever they want to, just like they're free to put the cost for you on a credit card. And that's their dumbass mistake. So you cannot have your cake and eat it too, my friend. Oh, let's see what the rest of this is. Yeah, gas costs $200 to get there and back. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Well, before we got debt free, our family set up this reunion, and his mom said, I guess, mom said she would pay for our gas and food since we said we couldn't financially commit at that time. Okay, great. Gas costs $200 to get there and back. We checked in with his mom about gas costs, and she said she'd transfer us $100 when we get down there, but that she can't do any more than that. So I'm not going then. So you don't go then. This is not a thing about how your family acts or you trying to fix their finances or anything like that. Or you trying to get them to this is why hopefully you didn't go, because this is exactly the problem. Because she said she financially committed to that, I'm assuming. She said you would pay for the gas, and now she can only pay for half of the gas. And so that's why you don't do financial stuff with family or friends ever. Thankfully, I saw this coming and we've set aside the money. But she's now insisting on buying us meals and expensive hardware, like upwards of $300. What kind of hardware? Expensive hardware? And it's getting to the point where I feel like, for me, we morally cannot take her generosity since we know it's going on credit cards, right? And so you should have morally felt like that before and said, no, we'll come visit when we can pay for it. So, but no, you want them to just take care of it and not complain, apparently, according to the title. She's single and makes $110K a year, but she's broke because she's doing it wrong. Yeah, nearly every payday. Probably over $100K in debt. Yeah. So she doesn't need to be adding more to that, which she's probably going to do whether you're there or not, but you don't need to be involved in it. Underwater on a mortgage somehow. HELOCs. Borrowing on the mortgage. My uncle-in-law is the same. but better off. He wants to take us out to eat, but despite making an insane amount of money, definitely can't afford it either. Okay. So they're doing it wrong. They need to get their financial stuff together, and floating your travel costs is not a good way to do it. So yeah, you would just not go unless you can afford it, and I wouldn't go without having a full emergency fund. I feel like for me, we just need to tell them no. Yeah, you can, but also know they want to feel like they can take care of us, and I don't want to spit on their generosity. So the problem is, okay, well, let me finish it. And it would be nice while we're looking to achieve savings goals to be able to eat out and see family without thinking about money. The emergency fund is not a savings goal. The emergency fund is emergency fund. You're still supposed to be gazelle intense on it and not eat out and have other things that you want to do, spend money on. That's a no. Not to mention that following their horrible money advice is what got us into debt in the first place. What would you do? I would not go. I would not participate in any of that until you have your full emergency fund, and then you save up the money to go visit and pay for all of your stuff, and that's when you should go, not 1 second before that. Oh, but like I was going to say, what the person is trying to do, though, here, based on the title alone, gets into some other stuff in the body of it, but in the title alone, wants them to pay it, it sounds like, but then not complain. And so you don't get to, guess what? You don't get to control what they do. Anything, including stick to their word. Your husband's mom's word about paying for the gas cost, and now she can only pay for half of it. So, which also is she can't pay for half of it because if she has to put it on debt, and so that's a no. And you cannot fix this situation with them, and so that's when you stay out of it and do not go until you can pay for it all yourself. Nutty. People are nutty. Trying to control everything. Let's see. What's this? Stefan Castle. All right. Stefan Castle. How much should I allocate for an engagement ring given my financial situation? Let's see. Looking for some advice. Maybe step 4. So that's good. So on step 4. So great. So you would save for it. I'm looking for some advice on how much I should reasonably spend on an engagement ring given my current financial situation. I've been listening to Dave for about 3 months now and have even went in person, gone in person. Let's do some English here. To watch the show a few times. I started in debt and paid it off. Great. So I'm relatively new to having positive net worth. I'm not going back. Great. I know engagement ring allocation isn't a frequent topic on the show, so I wanted to get input from the community. Here's my situation. Full-time, $2,500 a month. I've heard like 3 months salary, 6 months salary. I don't remember what Dave says on that actually. But if for me it would be the same as a car. It would be as little as possible. Let's see. I plan to join a fire academy once accepted. Oh, like a fireman. But firefighter. But I'm unsure how pay works during that period. Emergency fund 4,800 currently saved. Right, and that has nothing to do with your ring purchase. Emergency fund is completely separate. And so if you say 4,800 currently saved, if that's not your entire emergency fund, then you delay getting the engagement ring until you're done with that. Then let's let that be the priority instead. My monthly expenses, and now that's not to say delay the wedding, because you can have the wedding and buy the ring later, buy a nice ring later. But you can still do that. You don't let baby steps come between you getting married. You do let it stop you from spending all the adjacent spending to it, like rings and parties and honeymoon and all that. So you can get married without doing all of that stuff. A lot of people think you can't, but you can. My monthly expenses are around $1,000. Low cost of living. Roommate. Okay. Investments, $1,000 in a Roth IRA, opened 2 months ago. Okay. 500 in a brokerage account. Okay, none of this matters. What is it for house down payment? Okay, you're trying to do everything. Yeah, brokerage account. Trying to do everything all at the same time. So you should be doing 15% of your in step 4 that you say you're on. You should be putting 15%, unless you want to save a larger down payment faster. Then you can invest less in retirement, or you can even go down to 0 for up to 2 years. And so, but again, that has nothing to do. And so, see, the problem is now what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to not only finish the emergency fund, which should be the top goal, you are also going to be doing the Roth IRA, and also be putting money in a brokerage account as well for a house down payment. And the problem is you cannot do everything all at the same time. So, and also, since we're not going back into debt, you said you're not going to do, you would have to save up for that first. And hey, guess what? Getting an engagement ring does not come out of the emergency fund, if you can believe that. That's not where that comes from. You cannot take it out of the Roth. Now, out of the brokerage account, you can take out that $500, but I don't see where that. So basically, again, you have to prioritize things and probably hit them at one at a time, especially if even if you cut out investing for 2 years while you save up a larger down payment, or if you give up on the down payment and just are investing the 15%, your choice, or somewhere in between. You can do a little bit of both, but you can't do all that and also save 4 months, especially since you don't know what firemen make. So you can't know in advance if you're going to do that very soon. I don't know why that was brought up. Well, when we just go on the number that we have now, that where we work full time and make $2,500 a month. I don't plan to propose for another 8 to 12 months. Okay, great. So you have plenty of time to save. So I have time to save up for a ring and start thinking ahead to a wedding. And what you can do is you can make that brokerage account down payment / ring. So that way you don't have to open up another account. But no, you wouldn't do that, because you only got a 1 year thing on that. So yeah, don't do that. Do put it in a savings account, high yield savings account, for the ring. If you already have a high yield savings account, you can just use that one in addition to whatever else you're using it for now. But again, you cannot do it all at the same time and have it immediately. It's good that you have a year, 8 months to a year. But what's the delay? Why the delay? Well, I want to make sure that I'm a fireman by that time, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Also, you should also make sure you have your full emergency fund by that time if you don't already. So my main question is, how much should I realistically budget for a ring, considering I want to stay on track with baby steps and not derail other goals? Any personal experience or guidance would be much appreciated. Okay, so based on what you said you want to do, again, the investing in retirement and the house down payment, again, you can decide what you want to do on that. 0 for investing for 2 years while you put it all into the brokerage account for the house down payment, so you can save up a larger one faster. So the balance between those two is up to you, but you should finish the emergency fund first. But then between the investments here, the house down payment fund that's in the brokerage account and the Roth IRA, you would do those if you want to keep up with those, whatever balance for 2 years, and then you would go up to 15%. And after the 2 years, this 8 to 12 month timeline would be up, but it's just up to how much money is left over after that. And so that's what you haven't said. You haven't said, like, what are your expenses? So that's 2,500. And so if you keep doing 1,500 here, that only leaves 1,000 left. And didn't you say? Oh, roommate. Oh, that's your cost of expense. Okay, so that's so that's all your money. So see, you don't have any extra money, so you cannot do all of these at the same time, just like I said. Thanks in advance. Yeah. So that would be the thing. You have to choose priorities, and you probably have to cut one or more of these things out. So that would be the no down payment savings if you want to keep investing and save for the ring at the same time. Or you save for the ring at the same time as you're putting more money into the brokerage account for the down payment, and you're taking a 2-year break on the Roth IRA. So you have to decide these things, because guess what happens? Guess what's going to happen? All of your money is gone. By the time you do this 1,500 and then 1,000, that's all you have per month. And so where is the money going to come from? So you would have to lessen these two things to have more. Or if you can lower your expenses any more, but 1,000 is pretty low. Fun times. Fun times. So yeah, you can't do everything all at the same time. And you can still get married on any baby step. You just don't have to do all the adjacent spendings, like buy an expensive ring, or go on an expensive honeymoon, or have a big party, or anything like that. Money expenditure is not required other than the marriage license. And the preacher or just the beast might want to get paid. Okay, paramedic 4425 paid off my car loan. Just paid off the remaining 10,500 of car loan. Dumb if you saved up that money first. Dumb. Should have been paying it off all along. My interest rate was 7.79. Deemed my monthly payment had to go, so all right. Okay, so this is like my interest rate was 7.79%, comma, decided that my monthly payment had to go. So saved up enough and wiped it out. That was dumb as crap. If you paid it off as you got each dollar, you would have paid less interest on the car loan, you dumbass. And the same thing works in investing as well. In the inverse, if you put in a little bit of money, even at $1 at a time, you make more than if you save up a big chunk and then put it in the market later. Quit being dumb, people. Math. There goes my $250 payment. That part's good. And I'm getting a raise at work in June, and my paycheck should go up around $300. Great. Feels freaking amazing. Great. And it would have felt better if you didn't do it wrong. Saving up the whole thing and then paying off the car loan was dumb as crap. Crisco Lupe. No, Cisco, not Crisco. Cisco Lupe. Cash in my traditional IRA before I leave the state. I don't think you don't have to do that, because that's a federal thing. It's not tied to a state. Let's see, 60-year-old female living in Texas, no income tax, moderately high property taxes. No income tax, but you probably still have to pay capital gains. I'm planning to move to Georgia. Okay, income tax moderately low, property taxes. Yeah, you might end up ahead on that. Move. I have over $30,000 in traditional IRA. I bought these before Roths existed. Really? All right. I wonder when that was. Let's find out. When was Roth IRA enacted? Only 1997. Wow. Well, that makes me feel old. Seems like this has been around forever, ever. Became available to the public starting in January 1st, 1998. Cool. See? Taxpayer Relief Act, and they always call it something fun like that. And this was just a small section of it that enabled the Roth IRA. A lot of other dumb crap in there, I am sure. And the reason I say it was dumb crap because it was the government. Government was involved. My original plan was to just leave them there unless I needed, but then I realized that I have to take minimum distributions when I'm 70 and live in a state that will tax them. I see what you're trying to do. I still think you owe on the gains. Oh, no, you don't, because it's traditional. I see what you're doing. Oh, no, you do have to pay, because you didn't pay taxes on the thing. Okay, all right. I don't think you have to do that. I don't think that's how that works. Because that would be traditional IRA grow taxes in Texas. I don't think that, because that's the income tax. I don't get that withdrawn, right? Texas does not have a state income tax, so any taxes on your IRA growth or withdrawal are federal, right? Okay, so yeah, that's got nothing to do with that. When you withdraw money from the, yeah, I knew, yeah, that's what I thought. Because it's a federal thing, it's not a state plan. It's not something that's in the state. An IRA is a federal thing. So yeah, you would owe federal taxes of it. 2024 adjusted taxable gross income of $43K, military pension plus part-time job plus interest income. I mean, none of this is gonna matter to this as far as you doing that. Regardless, you are going to owe the, I mean, and I guess if they count capital gains as income, I guess you would have to do that in Georgia too if you didn't take it out. So it's up to you. You still have to pay taxes now, but perhaps not for the state. I've already maxed out Roth IRA for 2025. Should I convert 8K in 26 and 27? You can. It's going to be a tax hit. You will have to pay those taxes on the contributions. The contributions that you made out of that 8K, you would have to pay that on there. Gonna have 14K. They'll leave alone until I'm 70. Okay. Far too much thinking about it. Overthinking it here on everything. But yeah, generally you wouldn't, unless you have the cash on hand and do not need it at all for anything to cover the amount of the conversion, then you shouldn't do that either. Or should I have converted, or should convert if I have property taxes for it now? Okay, yeah, getting way too in the weeds there. Let's say for math purposes, great. Let's say that I'm currently making $25 an hour at IT help desk in non-income tax state. Then when I move to Georgia, I'll be working free for a couple of months. That's not advised. Working free is not advised. And then find a $10 an hour Walmart greeter job. What's this working free crap? Edit to add, I just Googled and AI tells me I can convert the whole 30K without penalty, just taxes. Yeah, you have to pay taxes on, when you convert it to a Roth, you're basically backtracking and changing it to a Roth, basically. And the whole idea behind the Roth is that you don't get the tax break on the contributions. You get the tax break on the end of it when you withdraw the money out. The traditional 401k and the traditional IRA, you don't pay taxes on the contributions to that. And so, yeah, you can, and you should have just Googled it anyway, and that would have been quicker than to do all this typing. Just remember to recently put the 30K into 1 and 2 year certificates to get the abysmal interest rates up a bit. I laddered the CDs. So if I do convert, looks like I have to do small amounts at a time as they mature. Yeah, that was dumb as crap too. And so you have it in a IRA, but it's only in a CD. That's horrible. Everything you're doing here is wrong. I would just Google it until you learn how these things work. I do more edits. I do have money in the stock market. These IRAs are in credit unions. And that's dumb as crap because it doesn't make any money. Even though I'm not currently using the money, there is a certain amount I like to keep liquid until after I move and buy another house. The money is not earmarked for the new house, but I still want to have some options for now. You can just put in a high yield savings account then. If you take it out of the IRA. Or you could just leave it in that freaking IRA. Also, if I convert to Roth, do I then have to hold the Roth for 5 years before I can pull without penalty? That's a good question. I don't know if a conversion is considered a new. I guess I can look that up too. Let's find out. We're looking up everything today. It's a learning Memorial Day. Is a Roth conversion consider a new contribution? No, Roth conversion not considered a new contribution. Roth conversion involves transferring funds from a pre-tax retirement account, like traditional Transfer triggers income tax on the converted amount. Essentially a rollover, not a fresh contribution of after-tax money. I guess I should ask directly about can you take withdrawals from a converted IRA of the contributions? Yeah, let's say that. And you can withdraw a contribution from Roth IRA without penalty or tax, even if the 5-year period for Roth IRA withdrawals hasn't been met. However, any earnings on those contributions may be subject to tax. Any 10% penalty if withdrawn before age 59 and a half. She's already 60, so should be good on that. So yeah, fun. So you can do that, and then it's basically liquid already. So fun times. We have learned some things today on this Memorial Day, Monday. Oh, were we done here? Yeah, and that was all that. Got a lot in the weeds, a lot of things that didn't need to have to be thought at all, except learning about how IRAs and Roth IRAs work. And should have just Googled it instead of asking in here. So for tomorrow we'll be doing what? No debt, need a new field. Out here in the field, we fight for our meals. Turning 24, still a baby. So that's fabulous. That no debt thing, stay with that. Get a new field, that's fine. And so we'll see what else we're doing here. You can take Ken Coleman's assessment, get clear, career assessment to find out what field you should be in. Outrageous apricot. Baby step 2, out of town eating advice, to not go out of town at all. Don't go out of town. And that there you keep the price low. If you 100% have to go out of town for whatever reason, you would go to the grocery store and get food and make it in your microwave in wherever you're staying. Just read Total Money Makeover. Great. And we'll see what happens with that. Budgeting on Every Dollar app. Might need Sid for that to see if there's any issue with that, or if it's a standard budgeting question I can answer, but we'll get into all that tomorrow. Again, youtube.com/CoachSteveMoney. I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach, and if you, yes you, talking to you, are having money problems, or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me at calendly.com/CoachSteveMoney. That link is in the ticker below, also in the video description. You can email me, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Donations can go to paypal.me/CoachSteveMoney. Alternatively to the Cash App at $Coach Steve Money. It wasn't taken. Walmart gift card to Coach Steve Money, that same email address. Upcoming streams, might do video game streams sometime this week, but basically the Ramsey Show Aftershow will be streaming Monday through this Friday, 10:27 a.m. right after the Ramsey Show is done with their broadcast. They recently changed their time a month ago to 9 a.m. Eastern Time the next day after they record it live. The recording it live part happens the same time. There's been no live video of the show for the past 4 years. And that's about all I have to say about that. As always, happy Memorial Day. Again, thanks for 2,000 subscribers. So blessed. #blessed. It's another song in there. I see you stressed. I'm hashtag blessed. But you can get yourself out of this mess. Messed it up. But that's what gives financial peace. That's what gives financial peace. It's another one of those in that music playlist. Do listen if you are so inclined, or even if you're not, do it anyway, just for me. Thanks so much. Alrighty, as always, make smart financial decisions every day.